If you've ever joyfully and gleefully imagined Jar Jar Binks being roasted by battle droids in the beginning of Star Wars Episode 1, go ahead and click like and subscribe. Hello, comic book lovers. Welcome to another edition of Rorschach's Comic Books. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the Immortal Iron Fist, the Book of Iron Fist. Now, in this book, it's a collection of short stories telling about some of the other people who have worn the title of Iron Fist, of which there have been 66 men and women. But before we get into the book, we're going to do a brief overview, just to let you know just who Iron Fist is. He's one of my top 3 favorite Marvel guys. I like the street level fighters from Marvel more than the kind of high up ones that are in the Avengers, the X-Men, or whatever. All right, so the current Iron Fist is Danny Rand. He was created by Ray Thomas, and Gil Kane, and first appeared in Marvel Premiere number 15, number back in 1974. Now, how Iron Fist gets his powers? Well, it's simple. He simply defeats this giant fire-breathing dragon named Shao the Undying, plunges his fists into the molten heart of said dragon, taking its supernatural energy into himself. Also, this with his inner chi energy, mixes and focuses the two into the Iron Fist, which manifests itself in the fist as a blazing ball of fire. Now, this makes the user impervious to pain and greatly increases their natural abilities, be it stamina, reflexes, sight, hearing, all that good stuff. All right. He can also use the power to heal himself and others. He has some limited psychic ability and can fuse his consciousness with other people. Getting into the book, as we said, there have been 66 men and women to hold the title. The last woman to hold the title of Iron Fist was Wu Aoshi, the pirate queen of Pinghai Bay. Now, as a young Wu Aoshi was saved by Li Kong the Thunderer, who trains each prospective Iron Fist. As a young girl, she lived in this holy city of Kunlun, which is the home of the Iron Fist. It's the city that they are destined to protect. So she leaves the heavenly city to go after her husband, who left because he was just a simple fisherman. He didn't feel he was worthy of having her, and he also couldn't bear to see her risking her life time and time again. So as she's going through the world of mortal men, looking for her husband, she becomes this wandering hero for hire, and eventually hears about this group of pirates who have taken over Pinghai Bay, which actually also happens to be the village her husband is living in. She goes to Pinghai Bay, defeats the pirate king, takes his ships and crew for herself, ends up ruling this province for the rest of her and her husband's life, and they live happily ever after. The next one in the book is Bai Bang Wen. He's basically the Professor X of the Iron Fist. When he walked into the room, he was the smartest man in the room. And he also used the golden chi of Shao the Undying a lot more cerebrally than many of the other Iron Fists. He used it to, greatly enhance his mental capabilities, as well as his fighting capabilities. He was a great strategic mind. So he fights for the Chinese against the British during the Second Opium War. He ends up getting captured, taken to a prison over in India, where he meets the Vivetma Vizvejit. That's probably not how it's pronounced. I'm terrible with, the more Eastern names, so please forgive me. But anyway, so this guy, he ends up being the Indian version of an Iron Fist. He has similar powers. It manifests itself similarly. Had to go through a similar ritual process to gain it. He works for the captured Indian emperor. Well, while they're in prison, they decide they're going to do this prison break. They instigate a riot. They break from prison. They travel to Burma to go rescue the emperor. When they get there, they discover that the emperor has been murdered by a tiger Jani, which is an Eastern demoness, basically. And she actually lured them there so that she could steal both of their powers and use them for herself. They defeat the tiger Jani. Mr. Vivijit takes over as emperor, and Bai Bang Wang, he returns to the heavenly city of Kunlun, renounces the power of the Iron Fist so that someone else may take it, and lives happily there in the city. The next Iron Fist in the book is Orson Randall. He's one of my favorite Iron Fists. He was born and raised in the city of Kunlun. Well, he leaves to go fight in World War One. After the war is over, he's recalled to Kunlun to fight in the contest of the seven heavenly cities, which we'll talk about that here later. Well, he refuses to fight. He leaves and becomes a wandering adventurer. Next in the book is the current Iron Fist, Danny Rand, and it has a few short stories about him, starting with his origin story, and then they go into a few more of his early adventures. So the book itself, it's quite short. You could probably read it in half an hour or less. If you just want to sit down, read a good comic book, I'd recommend it. It was a good story, good art. When it comes to art, the only thing I did not care for was some of the art of the Orson Randall stories, because for some reason they decided to do art for a lot of his stories in the same style that they do the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl books. I don't know why they do that. I wish they would stop. It's very hard for me to take it seriously when they do that, but whatever. Be that as it may. Some other Iron Fist books I would recommend if you want to get into Iron Fist. Definitely the Immortal Iron Fist comic series. That's my favorite one. One of the better stories in that was the Seven Capital Cities of Heaven, which talks about when Danny Rand has to fight in the contest of the Heavenly Cities, which happens every 88 years, as we said earlier. It's basically Mortal Kombat meets Marvel Comics. It's a good read. Another good one was Iron Fist: The Living Weapon, which came out shortly thereafter. You had the Mortal Iron Fist, was a good read. You have the most recent Iron Fist comic series, which was just titled Iron Fist. I only collected it through the first story arc. It was very similar to Seven Cities of Heaven, a similar contest. It was all right. The artwork wasn't bad. It's better than a lot of other Marvel stuff that they've been putting out here recently. But what I couldn't get over was Iron Fist costume in that. Danny Rand, he owns the Rand Company. Think Green Arrow. Oliver Queen owns this company. He's a rich billionaire, so he can finance all his toys himself. And the best this billionaire could come up with was a green and yellow jogging suit with this ridiculous hood on the back of it and tennis shoes. So, yeah, I think they could have put a bit more imagination into it myself with that, but whatever. So, yeah, if you do see any single issue Iron Fist books out in the wild, especially the Immortal Iron Fist series, I would greatly recommend that you pick them up. They are very difficult to find. Iron Fist, he has kind of a cult following, so anytime I see an Iron Fist book, I pick it up. If it's just Iron Fist and it's not Heroes for Hire, it's not Iron Fist and Luke Cage, because you can find those all day long. If it's just Iron Fist, Mortal, Immortal, or otherwise, Living Weapon, whatever, pick it up, because they are very hard to find. He had one miniseries in the 90s. I think it was called The Return of Kunlun, but I could be wrong. There was only 3 books in that one, and I'm still looking for number 3. I've got 1 and 2, but I'm still looking for number 3. So, all right, I think that'll be it for today. If you enjoyed what you saw today, go ahead and click like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notified when our next video comes out. And again, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Have a good day. Stay healthy. Have fun. Happy